Hello, I'm Amy from Moonmindology, and today I want to look at the chart of Vivek Ramaswamy. Without further ado, he has a Sagittarius ascendant, which is notoriously about a sense of justice. So he will fight for what he believes in, but not only that. The nakshatra is Purva Ashada, so this is the undefeated one, and it's all about leadership and justice. And they can be completely unaware of their own flaws, but they're very good with success and victory. So Neptune is in the first house, and this is really interesting, as there can be a confusion about the self as well as an incredible creative ability, but there can also be a tendency to be misunderstood by others. The chart ruler and the fourth ruler is in the second house. Now this gives a lot of interest in money and financial abundance, but there can also be property through his mother or just general wealth from her. Jupiter is in the second, but this is debilitated, so this should probably be seen as bad initially. But the planet is retrograde, and sometimes this can have an opposite effect to what you think. And as we can see with his money situation, he certainly does not act as if he has a debilitated planet in his second house of money. However, there is some affliction from the Sun and Mars. Jupiter also has a cancellation of debilitation, so that adds to how great it is. The Yogacaraka, Mars, also aspects it, so this can lift it up. The ruler of the second and the third is in the 11th, and this is a money yoga, and this is what really drives home his money situation, and he'll be great with other people's money as well as finances in general, and he will get money from multiple sources from others. Friends and associates are very important, and there can be a link to siblings and wealth, and I'm not sure whether he has worked with a sibling, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has. So Jupiter is exactly opposite Mars. As I said, it's a Yogacaraka planet, and this is someone who is very charming, and they can rush in and save the day. These people take risks and they love to pick a fight, so they can have strong political opinions. However, they can come across as quite arrogant and also strongly opinionated, which can rub people the wrong way. However, he is a hard worker who is very ambitious, and he has an incredible will just to win. Mars is in the 8th, which is really great for science and technology, and he may look like a businessman, but he will be very good with technicalities. And since Mars is close to Mercury, this is going to give him incredible intelligence and wit. And this guy is excellent in debate, and he loves it. He just doesn't care how bad it makes him look or what scandal comes out about him, because he is really good at defending himself. One thing I really don't like about this is the possibility for accidents related in the workplace, and that's not a nice thing to have as an American presidential candidate. But Mars is debilitated, and this can give some health issues. One of the biggest things that a debilitated Mars can do is create blood or muscle disorders, as well as give him a very hot temper. And his temper could get him in trouble at some point and cause some kind of scandal. But luckily there is an aspect from Jupiter, but there's a lot of affliction to this house. But we see a cancellation of debilitation as well. Mars is very mixed, and there can be some genetic disorders or problems with the reproductive system as well. The Sun is also in the 8th, and this is great for science, and there can also be an interest in secret societies or things that are behind the scenes. And he may not have got on well with his father, but he has a natural ability to make money out of other people's money. Mars and the Sun sit so tightly conjunct, and this gives him a feeling of overwhelm at times, as there is some combustion. But I think that he works and he works and he works, and he is the sort of person who may have meltdowns. But this is great for a bold and assertive nature, and he can be very competitive, reactive, but also very fiery. And his temper could get him in hot water. This is a lot of heat. Mercury is also in the 8th, and this is a great house for Mercury. This is also good for his reputation, but also dealing with the taboo, and this can be a great placement for science, and again using other people's money. The ruler of the 8th is in the 6th, which is a Viprita yoga, and that brings benefits from unfortunate situations. So he could have accidents that brings money, but there's other signs of him working in the health industry, but that's related to genetic illness or chronic illness. The ruler of the 5th, 7th, 9th, 10th and 12th, they're in the 8th. And this can be a problem with children, but there's a great intelligence with science and other people's money. And the marriage can be problematic and his wife can be secretive. And there can be potential betrayal, or it could be that she works in science, which she does. There can be problems with his father, again, but he is very intuitive and has a knack for turning someone else's dime into a dollar. I don't know if that's a saying, but for 8th house strength, that should be the saying. This is very much a science placement, and the whole life will just be about his career. And the 10th ruler is surrounded by the Sun and Mars, and he will want to be the leader. And of course, he's a CEO, and now he wants to be the ruler of America. He is insanely ambitious, which you kind of have to be in the run to be a president of America. He will be interested in mechanics, engineering, and probably banking. And the 9th ruler is with the 10th. So he's interested in law and the mechanics of the Constitution. Moon in the 6th. This can give his mother some illness, or she can work in the health industry. And I think she did or does. I don't know too much. It's very good for being able to defend against enemies as well. So he's mentally healthy and he will be interested in healing others, which is what his work was all about, and worked in the health industry. He's mentally healthy and he will be interested in healing other people. Those who work under him can be very supportive as well. The ruler of the 6th and the 7th can be problematic with business, and it can create a problem with the partner. However, his wife does work in healthcare, and this can be another direct representation of this. Venus in the 7th, this is problematic for relationships as well, and it creates idealism as well as a wandering eye. But good for business, and it can sweeten the deal and communicate and make his communication really good. It's good for contracts and business partners as well. So the ruler of the 6th and the 11th is in the 7th. This can be problematic for marriage again. Contracts, business partners, relationships can be difficult, but there is a good friendship underneath it all. Rahu is in the 5th, and in the 5th house, this gives a really deep and penetrating mind, and it's somebody who has an awful lot of intelligence, but he can think so big that he loses himself in the idealism at times. Wealth can be found through extravagant and unusual ideas, and there can be a bit of a problem with obsessive thoughts and OCD or anxiety, something of this variety. Rahu aspects the ascendant, and this plays a part in making him really successful, pushy, but also controlling, and he will appear to be rebellious and very unusual, and that's how he's perceived politically, whether it's the Conservatives looking at him as going, oh yeah, he's really out there, he represents the, the people, or the Democratic supporters who go, oh my gosh, yeah, he's an extremist, he's so eccentric, and everything that he says is too much. So he does fit that, and I think he's caused quite a stir in the political world, which is always very interesting. So Pluto is in the 11th, and this is a keen interest in philanthropy and a deep desire to make a difference. And of course, I was reading about him. He worked, I'm pretty sure he did work with like some genetic children's disease, and it was some kind of patent for a medication that they basically said, we're not running with this because we don't think it's going to work. And he was like, I'll buy it and fix the kids. I'll fix the kids. So I know that he did have one medication that failed. I don't know whether it was that one, but yeah, he does what he believes is right. Pluto in this position can also lead to careers in politics, because there is a desire to control. he will look around and go, I don't think this is very good. My ideas are much better than this. And steamroll through into it. Alas, it can be a little bit of a sign of megalomania, but don't worry, I've seen quite a few politicians with this, and the world hasn't yet fallen apart. K2 is in the 11th house, and this is about opportunities and large chunks of money through unusual things. Saturn is in the 11th house, and this is great for wealth and mixing it with business and people in power. His eldest sibling, very close and great at bringing him opportunities. I'm not sure if Shankar is older than him, which is his brother, but he is a doctor, and I did just find out that he worked with Vivek on one of his companies. So I think he's a surgeon, I'm not entirely sure. Lastly, two debilitated planets opposed, and they're both square to an exalted planet. So why is this significant? Well, as soon as a significant planet goes into Aries, around about 16 to 27 degrees, we have a powerful little lineup which creates events. And I had never heard of this guy until a few months ago, where people were requesting a reading of him suddenly. I was like, who is this guy? I don't even know who he is. And suddenly this man's just appeared out of thin air, and everybody's excited about him for representing the Conservatives. And I really put that down to Rahu and Jupiter passing through Aries and activating all of those planets. Jupiter is going to be going backwards and forwards in this sign until April 2024, and he may lose a bit of gusto here when it leaves, but Jupiter will be getting an aspect from natal Jupiter, and it's also going over his natally exalted moon after April 2024. So there's still a possibility that he could have success. So let's have a quick look at his chart in comparison to the USA chart. First of all, there is a link between the USA's K2 and his Jupiter, and he really does feel in the depths of him that America gives him wisdom and enlightenment. He idealized capitalism, which is what America was in fact built on, and he points out what he believes is true, and he has a strong intuition regarding the nature of America. And there is a link between Mars and Rahu, which is totally understandable, as this country is all about ambition and determination to him, and he's angry that this country that he loves has changed, and it's what's driven him to run for office. There's a link between both Venus and his Venus to Jupiter. He really is in line with the same capital ideals that America was built on originally, looking at this. And Venus is about tastes and what is deemed to be joyful, and he does stand in line with what America was founded on. Whether or not you agree with him, he does line up with the chart. He is running for president, but I think he is more interested in teaching and getting his word and dreams out there. He loves traveling, he loves communicating. Politics gives him a great opportunity to do this. However, I think he knows deep down that he won't win, but he's just in it for the ride, for the glory, and to spread his message and say to people, we don't want to live like this anymore. He wants the old America back. He wants what America was built upon, and that's evident from these two charts. So there is a lineup between USA and him. Of course, he lives in the country, he's running and for president, but there are no Pluto links, so I don't feel confident that he will be a leader of this country, because I would like to see some kind of Pluto connection here. So will he make it to the November 2024 elections, and will he get in the hot seat? Will he be there? I personally think that we're missing a lot of interaction between that day's chart and his natal planets, and it would have gone a lot better for him if the election was right now. I also don't think he actually has a significant enough 12th house to really become a leader. However, Jupiter opposed Mars is a great combination for leaders, and you do see it an awful lot in politics. Looking at Inauguration Day, there's just no interaction between the planets at all, and I think that his popularity may fizzle out after 2024 April, when he goes into the cycle of Jupiter-Saturn. And you know, he will be rubbing elbows with the big boys, but I just don't think he's going to be a leader of America. The whole time that Rahu and Jupiter are going to be in his 5th house, this is great for his political aims and his investments. But when Rahu goes into Pisces in November, there's an aspect to his 8th house, and the planets within could cause some kind of scandal for him. But I think he's gonna, if somebody tries to go at him legally, he will do. It won't touch him. He'll do very, very well. Thank you very much for listening to my talk on Vivek Ramaswamy today. I hope you enjoyed it. Very interesting man. Honestly, look up his biography. And whether or not you like him politically, he is a really interesting person, as we found out today. But I hope you enjoy your week. Sorry there was no video last week. It's been a lot going on. Again, if you want to have a reading with me, you can come to moonmindology.com and book an appointment, and I would love to read for you. Thank you so much for your time today. Have an excellent week.